On our path of personal development, personal growth and transformation, and health and healing and spiritual expansion, it's really common that we might think that our perception can be clouded, or that our judgment can be clouded, or that our problem lies in what we don't know. Yet, what I'm going to suggest in this video is that maybe actually our problem isn't what we don't know, but what it is that we do know. And that's really what's causing the obstruction, meaning it's causing obstruction through knowledge. So to understand this and to take us a little bit more deep and to understand what we're talking about here, I have three different concepts that we're going to go over. The first is a quote from the Tao Te Ching. It basically says, in the pursuit of worldly knowledge, or in the pursuit of being in the world, every day we want to gain something. Yet in the pursuit of the Tao, or pursuit of the way, then every day we want to decrease, we want to get rid of, we want to eliminate. Well, eliminate what? That leads to the second point, which is what we know, or really what we think we know. And this is things that we've been learned, things that we've been taught, things that we've been programmed with through culture and society, and really through thousands and thousands of years of humans creating knowledge and surmising knowledge and putting in knowledge into these little boxes. And then we're imprinted with that. And then that turns our mind from something that's very fluid and flexible and open into something that's really rigid and inflexible and operates very mechanically, and is thus obstructed by knowledge. And thus also blocks out all of our other capacities for higher thought or intuition or cognition or creativity, or tapping into other dimensions or modes of thinking or perceiving reality. So in other words, what was once a form of thought has now become a wall of thought, and everything that fits into it is accepted and taken in, and then everything that doesn't fit into that one little mode is then rejected and just thrown out because it doesn't fit our one little way of looking at it. And again, my favorite quote that I'll throw in is, if all you have is a hammer, then suddenly everything becomes a nail. If all we have is this one way of perceiving reality, then that's all we're going to see. So getting back to our point here, again, in the progress of attaining things in the world, we want to gain every day. In the process of going after the Tao or attaining the way, we want to decrease or eliminate every day. Well, eliminate what? Well, start to eliminate what we think we know, which is thus clouding our perception, clouding our thoughts, clouding our ability to perceive reality as it is, rather than just being stuck and clouded by what we think we know and what our culture tells us is true and tells us is the nature of reality. Taking it further, one of the major stumbling blocks, one of the major things that causes this obstruction through knowledge becomes our story. And this is something which we all can start to pay attention to right now. And we can pay attention to all of the times that we should all over ourselves, or that we poison ourselves with our story. For example, let's say we are up really late one night. And then there's two different ways we can handle that. We can, on the first, get all stressed and say, oh my God, I'm going to be so tired tomorrow. I only slept this amount, and I read that I have to sleep this amount every night, and now I'm going to be so stressed, and tomorrow I'm going to be so tired, and then I'm going to go up to work, and I'm going to be tired, and then I'm not going to be able to do this, I'm not going to be able to do that, and we essentially just poison ourselves that way. Yeah, there's another way that we could say, well, here's what happened. I'm going to rest, I'm going to relax as much as I possibly can right now. Sure, I may not feel like $1 million first thing tomorrow, but I'm going to feel pretty good. My intention is to feel good. I'm going to do the best that I can. I'm just going to flow with whatever happens to be there, and realize and accept this as a learning experience, and then move on. Another way, and one thing I'm talking about here, is shoulding all over yourself. Meaning we have all this crap that we're given by the world in the form of shoulds, and then we talk to ourselves, well, I should do that, I should do this, I should do that, shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do that. And we're just shoulding all over ourselves all the time, and then creating a lot of suffering for ourselves. So how we can bring this back to the here and now is to pay attention to the things that we say out loud, the things that we say to ourselves, and see if they're at all poisonous, or see if we're shoulding on ourselves, or really constraining ourselves and setting ourselves up for things that we don't really want, or things that are really constraining. It's easy to really notice that, because when we're saying these things, it usually doesn't feel very good in our physical body. So in that moment, we can realize, whoa, something is a little off here. Something needs to be paid attention to. I need to maybe either not say this story or maybe change it around a little bit. So another example of how we can understand the importance of our story is, let's say we're in a situation where we deal with the public, or we deal with a lot of people all the time. And it's common that people say, oh, well, I deal with all these people, and they're coughing, they're sick, they have colds, they have this. It's a cesspool, it's a breeding ground for viruses and bacteria, and it's just this sort of poisonous environment. And then if we ever start to feel anything, we can say, well, yeah, that's just what happens. I'm in this environment, and this happens, and this does this, and this does that. But yet implicit within that is all of the self-image of being a person that acknowledges and willingly participates in the act of creating that situation. Whereas there's another way we can look at it and say, yeah, well, this is what I do. This is the reality of the situation. I deal with all these people, and I happen to have a really strong immune system. I really take care of myself. I think well, I sleep well, I eat well, I take the right herbs and supplements, and I'm just really not the kind of person that participates in that sort of thing. And both of those different stories are describing essentially the same event, but will typically yield different results because they have different implicit assumptions about reality and about ourself. So again, that illustrates another way which our story is important. But getting back to the point, recapping, really oftentimes we think, oh, well, what I don't know is really just blocking me out. Oh, if I just get this meditation, if I just go to this guru, if I just do this chant, then I'll know what I need to know, and then all of these other dimensions will be opened up, and I'll have all of the things that I want. When in reality, maybe that's just another obstruction. Maybe that's just another wall, another hurdle that we're then setting up for ourselves because we don't understand that. Really, if it comes down to, growing in the world, then sure, accumulate every day, do this, do that, sure. But if we want to attain the Tao, if we want to harmonize with the way or harmonize with nature, then every day we need to decrease, every day we need to eliminate and remove the obstructions of knowledge that block and cloud our perception. So hopefully that's been helpful. If you have any questions or comments, post them below, and I'll talk to you soon.